Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Paula Degnan. Estevan Rodriguez Fernandez entered a guilty plea yesterday to felony charges in connection with a fatal crash in July 2016. The 21-year-old was driving on Route 924 in Hazel Township when his vehicle went off the road, swerved, and struck another head-on. Carlos Espinal, a passenger in the other vehicle, was killed. Fernandez has been out on bail since his preliminary hearing in October. He has been allowed to apply for the Intermediate Punishment Program ahead of sentencing. A months-long investigation by state police at Hazleton into the sexual abuse of minors netted a 19-year-old from Hazleton. Ofmar Anzani was arrested in connection with 3 separate cases involving victims 12 and 13 years of age. He was arraigned Thursday and jailed after inability to post bail. A woman is headed to state prison after admitting that she called in a bomb threat at the Schuylkill County Courthouse. 35-year-old Jacqueline Hollywood of St. Clair pleaded guilty to threats to use weapons of mass destruction, terroristic threats, criminal use of a communication facility, and 2 counts of disorderly conduct. Judge James Goodman accepted the plea and sentenced Hollywood to serve 2 to 4 years in a state prison plus 2 years additional on probation. She must also pay costs and $50 to the Criminal Justice Enhancement account. Pottsville police charged Hollywood with calling in the threats to the Children and Youth and District Attorney's offices December 12th of 2016. Wilkes-Barre police are investigating a hit-and-run involving one of their own. Police say it happened on North Main Street just before 9 last night when a police cruiser was struck by a silver Mitsubishi Eclipse. The vehicle left the scene. The cruiser was unable to give chase. Investigators are now looking at surveillance video in that area, and anyone with information is asked to contact Wilkes-Barre Police at 570-826-8106. Wilkes-Barre City will be joining Luzerne, Lackawanna, and Columbia counties in lawsuits expected to be filed within the next 30 days. The suit is against drug manufacturers and wholesale distributors that officials say is contributing to the opioid epidemic. 5 of the largest drug manufacturers have been named as defendants in that suit. Hazleton City could be shifting money from one playground project to another. Wednesday night, Hazleton Council will consider moving some federal funds from the 12th Ward Playground at 17th and Lincoln to the East End Park by the hospital. The proposal calls for reallocating $14,000 worth of CDBG funds that the city earmarked last year for improvements at the 12th Ward Playground to a new line item for improvements at the East End Playground. The city originally planned to use the money to match a donation that a private party offered in exchange for naming rights, but officials say that private party is not ready to commit to the funds just yet. The $14,000 that the city wants to transfer to the East End Playground will cover equipment, installation, and unanticipated costs. The Hazleton Area School District has put up an online survey asking for input on the student dress code. The current code allows for dress and polo shirts, dress pants, or shorts and sweaters. Girls can also wear skirts and dresses as long as they're within 3 inches of the knee. The current dress code was approved back in 2006, and Superintendent Brian Uplinger wants to find out if people prefer a stricter code that would include uniforms or a dress code that is more relaxed. Parents, teachers, and students can go to the HASD announcements page on Facebook, and they'll be asked if they would like a more loose code, which would allow jeans, a strict uniform policy, or if they would like to keep the current policy as is. A Republican from Columbia County has dropped out of the race for the 9th congressional seat. Andrew Schechter, who is a Berwick council member, has decided not to seek the Republican nomination for the new 9th congressional district. Schechter, in a statement, said his decision is due both to the illegal last-minute redistricting by the state and the massive money being thrown by high-powered liberals and globalists toward the disruption of the 2018 midterm elections. Republicans still in the race are former State Revenue Secretary Dan Muser of Kingston Township, Scott Eulinger of Berks County, a former CIA station chief and political commentator, and George Halkovich Jr. of Pottsville, chairman of the Schuylkill County Board of Directors. Coming up on WYLN News, the commemoration of Good Friday plus the start of Passover. But first, let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. Overnight skies clear with a low of 27. Sunshine and a high of 53 tomorrow. Easter Sunday, some early showers, then partly sunny and a high of 45. We'll be right back.
Harrisburg's cluttered with failed politicians like Tom Wolf and Scott Wagner. 4 years ago, Wagner promised he'd lower your property taxes. Wagner didn't just fail, he called for a massive new tax on seniors' retirement pensions. That's unconscionable. I'm not just going to cut your property taxes, I'm going to get rid of them. And how do you know I won't fail? I'm not a politician, I'm a successful businessman. And I also completed Army Ranger training. And trust me, we don't fail.
Are you in good hands? Call Gary McNeilis of Allstate Insurance for all your insurance needs. The McNeilis Agency has 2 locations to conveniently serve you, 1092 North Church Street in Hazel Township and Hometown Village Square in Hometown. Their quality, service-oriented agency will make sure you get the coverage you need at a price you can afford. Call in Hazel Township at 570-454-1981 or in Hometown at 570-668-5133.
Are you in good hands?
All Care Home Care, providing quality in home care since 1986. Call and see how their team of licensed physical therapists, skilled nurses, speech, and occupational therapists can provide you with exceptional service in the comfort of your own home. They also offer dietitian, home health aide, and medical social worker services. You have a choice in your health care. For safe, friendly, qualified care, call All Care Home Care today and let their team begin taking care of you and your loved ones.
It is Good Friday and Lenten fasting is just about over, including meat. People are making their last-minute Easter food stops for this weekend. WYLN's Julia Wiegand visited Schuylkill County to check out the rush.
Ryan Township Fire Company kept busy today with their Good Friday Lenten seafood dinner starting at 11 a.m. The sale had your choice of platters such as haddock, shrimp, or crab cakes with sides of mac and cheese or french fries. Green beans, coleslaw, a dinner roll, and dessert were also included. Besides platters, there were sandwiches and chowder available for purchase. Customers had the option of dining in or even taking their meals to go. Kova Lennox Kielbasa Shop in Shenandoah also had their fair share of customers stocking up for this Easter weekend. Lines were out the door with families ordering their kielbasa by the pound along with other items on the menu. Customers snagged their order numbers upon walking into the shop and were called numerically to order. People will be out and about all weekend preparing for the Easter holiday, so be sure to plan your food trips accordingly. Reporting from Schuylkill County for WYLN News, I'm Julia Wiegand.
Thank you, Julia. The 8-day observance of Passover begins this evening. The major Jewish spring festival commemorates the liberation of the Israelites from Egyptian slavery. And today, as we said, Good Friday, the day Christians commemorate the crucifixion of Jesus. Tomorrow, the solemn Easter Vigil on Holy Saturday, then Easter Sunday, marking Christ's resurrection. And it was a somber procession through the streets of Hazleton today, commemorating the crucifixion and death of Jesus Christ. Parishioners from St. Gabriel's Church at Holy Annunciation Parish reenacted the Stations of the Cross. It's an annual tradition of the church where participants pray and reflect on the sufferings and death of Jesus as the crowd followed in his footsteps.
One of the first names which was given to Christianity was the Way. Even before Christians were called Christians, so we followed the way of Jesus Christ, the way of self-sacrifice and service, leading to the glory of the resurrection.
The Good Friday procession started in front of the church on Wyoming Street and made its way through numerous neighborhoods as it stopped to recognize each station along the way.
The suffering of Jesus Christ, his passion, they're going to different prayers, enacting the events which took place on Good Friday as Christ died for us on the cross. Brings people together. Are going to be people from the Spanish-speaking community, English-speaking community. So I think it's a great opportunity for Hazelton and for this parish to come together and to celebrate this great feast of the Passion of Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection.
Services were also held at the church this afternoon, both in English and Spanish. Easter Masses will be celebrated this Sunday, 7:30 a.m., 10:15 in English, and at noon in Spanish, and all are welcome to attend. 5 different churches came together for Lent with one purpose this Good Friday. First Presbyterian, Christ Lutheran Congregational, First Methodist of Mahanoy City, and St. Paul United Church of Christ, all in rotation throughout the Lenten season, hosting Friday Masses. This Good Friday's Mass was hosted at St. Paul's UCC. The Mass went from noon to 3 p.m., where each congregation could come and go freely throughout. St. Paul's UCC is located on North Main Street in Mahanoy City. Meanwhile, yesterday, many packed into Saints Peter and Paul Ukrainian Catholic Church in Mount Carmel for a special Holy Thursday service. Metropolitan Archbishop Stefan Soroka of the Ukrainian Catholic Church conducted the services yesterday. The service included washing of the feet, just like Christ did to his disciples who would become the first priests.
Instead of being a master and so on, our Lord shows us how we must humble ourselves in our love and service one another.
The Mount Carmel Church has been selected as the location for this year's service, which is held in a different church each Holy Thursday from among all the churches located in eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Washington, and Virginia.
It's interesting how even compare how priests will speak about in other areas where they have to kind of motivate. In this area, people are self-motivated.
Holy Week, which is considered one of the most sacred weeks in the Christian calendar, continues through Sunday, when Christians believe Christ was resurrected. Coming up on Sun Valley's News Choice, the observance of Passover in Community and You. Plus, tonight is the drawing of the Mega Millions lottery game. The annuity jackpot worth $521 million. That's $500 million. Cash payout before taxes, not bad, $317 million. But first, let's take a look at today's winning midday lottery numbers. Good luck if you played. Stay with us.
Berger Family Dealership, soon to be the Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships of Hazelton. The finalization of the sale of the dealership is getting closer every day. There's only one thing stalling the process, and that's the inventory. It all must go. Every new and pre-owned car, truck, sport utility, and van must be liquidated or sold off at auction. Please don't miss this opportunity to purchase at well below normal pricing guidelines. We're so confident that we won't be undersold, we're going to double our $1,000 low price guarantee. This has never before been offered and will expire at the end of business on March 31st.
At the Joyce Insurance Group, we offer insurance tailored to your needs. We protect what matters most to you.
We've been serving the needs of thousands of clients throughout Northeast Pennsylvania since 1955.
Our professional agents are dedicated to providing you with a great insurance experience.
With 62 years in business, our clients are the reason that we care the most.
Ask any of our 5,000 plus satisfied customers, and they'll tell you the right choice is Joyce.
You seen university advertising. A student like me pitching you the same old ideas. But I'm not gonna do that.
Instead, I'm gonna tell you what you can do with a Penn State degree. You can help anyone. Go anywhere. Create! And with 20 campuses to choose from, you'll always feel at home.
Look, Penn State is amazing, but your best years are just beginning. Come find out for yourself.
Welcome to Community and You, and today we are going to get a little bit of insight to a holiday that is actually, well, we're in the midst of. With me is Rabbi Larry Kaplan, and we are at Temple Israel in Wilkes-Barre. And is Passover goes for more than just one day.
Yeah, it goes for 7 or 8 days. It depends. Biblically, it's a 7-day holiday. And there was a tradition that those communities that were outside of the land of Israel tacked on an additional day in the beginning and the end of the holiday, making it a fully an 8-day holiday outside. It had to do with announcing the month that the holidays were coming in, and they needed to spend time sending runners to the Jewish communities that were in modern day Iraq and Iran and places like that, Persia and all. And it took weeks to get there. Sometimes it took so long that they might have missed the first day of the holiday. And so that's why there was a celebration. Not sure why we continue with that tradition these days. Here at Temple Israel, we've actually followed some other non-Orthodox synagogues, and we celebrate just for the biblical days, the 7 days.
Now, when we're talking about Passover, can you give us a little bit of the historical rundown of exactly, I know there's so much that goes into it, but what would be some of the historical highlights?
Easy way to get the a basic idea of Passover, at least the traditional, the first Passover, would be just to read the book of Exodus in the Bible, the second book of the Torah. And it tells the story of the Israelites leaving slavery, crying out to God, God appointing Moses being a little hesitant to take the job. God convinces him, and they ultimately go before the Pharaoh and insist that he let God's people go, let my people go. It's a fascinating read in the actual book. It changed a little bit. The narrative remains the same. We recall it. It becomes extremely important in Jewish tradition. It's part of our daily liturgy. We recall the Exodus from Egypt daily, twice a day, as a matter of fact, because it's such an important aspect of our history. But then there's the question of historicity. In other words, did it actually happen? And my answer when people challenge and say, oh, it's a biblical story, it didn't actually happen, I say, well, that's because we have very little videotape, right? From that. Had your station been around and the cameraman been able to be there? So we don't know exactly. We don't know even when exactly. We're thinking about 1,200 years before the Common Era. In other words, 1,200 BC. So lots of times we say BCE, before the Common Era. And that may have been when it actually started.
So that just seems like every other person who has a belief, it's the same thing. So there's really a lot of similarities between people who have beliefs. Some of them don't believe.
Absolutely. But my way of looking at it is that I don't look at the Bible as a history book. I look at it as a book of stories and morality and guidance. So I, for my personal belief, I believe in God. I believe that if God wanted to, he could have done anything that the Bible indicates. But I don't need to. I don't celebrate Passover because I believe that everything happened exactly as it was. As a matter of fact, we don't celebrate Passover. These Passover Seder plates and the accoutrements and the storybooks that I'm going to show you, they aren't as the Bible describes it. The Bible describes that Passover was a very quick thing. The Israelites were getting ready to leave. God had sent 9 plagues, on the Egyptians. Blood and turning the Nile River to blood and frogs coming out and lice and boils. It was a nasty kind of a thing. Finally, the Egyptians say, okay, get them out of here. Let the people go and go free. And then the Pharaoh changed his mind one last time. And God sends the 10th plague, which is the killing of the firstborn. Mm-hmm. Because before the Passover story, Pharaoh announced that there were too many Jews. Throw the Jewish babies into the Nile River. Drown them. And there were 2 Egyptian women who were not Jewish, who were the midwives, and they saved the Jewish babies. One of them was Moses, and he was floated down the Nile River in a wicker basket there and picked up by the daughter of the Pharaoh. And it's so ironic that the future savior of the Jewish people was raised in Pharaoh's palace.
And little did he know he was going to have a job offer when he got much older.
Exactly.
Well, now that you have given us the background, what we're going to do is we are going to come back, and Rabbi Kaplan is going to give us a bit of a education and tour when it comes to, as he mentioned, Seder plates and other things that are used during the Passover service. So I can have you do that?
Sure.
All right. So we will catch you again. Make sure you're tuned in tomorrow on Community and You.
You've lived with it for too long. That recurring joint or muscle pain that makes everyday tasks a strain and repetitive movement almost impossible. Why put it off? The sooner you seek treatment, the more options you'll have. The faster you'll be back in full stride. The latest non-surgical solutions. The region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
For 4 generations, All-American Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram has been treating their customers like family. Stop in to get the lowest financing options and best service around. Whether you're in need of a Ram pickup with a Snow Dog plow, or have an active family lifestyle, or simply want to show off your fun, adventurous side, All-American Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram of Tamaqua has a wide variety of inventory to choose from. Stop in now and take advantage of the spring sales event.
For creative cuisine and handcrafted cocktails, visit Four Blooms in Drums.
Monday. 3 men from Hazleton were taken into custody after a resident reported suspicious activity to police. Hazleton Police Chief Jerry Speziale was called to North Lee Court and West 3rd Street in Hazleton. He observed the 3 Hispanic males exiting a home on 4th Street carrying large boxes containing electronics. All 3 were charged with burglary, theft, and receiving stolen property. Numerous electronic devices and other items were recovered from the incident. The men were arraigned and taken to the Luzerne County Prison. Tuesday. 2 healthcare giants are coming together to build a new acute care hospital in southern Schuylkill County. It was announced that St. Luke's University Health Network and Geisinger will partner to build a new facility on Route 61 near Orsburg, which is just south of Pottsville. The fully licensed 80-bed hospital will include an emergency department, a full range of specialties and services. Officials say the groundbreaking will happen this spring and the hospital is expected to be open by late 2019. Wednesday, a kitchen fire sent fire crews in the city of Hazleton to a home on Diamond Avenue. City Fire Chief Donald Leschko said a cooking incident on a stove sparked the fire that spread to the kitchen walls and cabinet. Firefighters quickly knocked down the flames and contained them to the 415 side of the home. No one was injured in that fire in Hazleton. Thursday, a coroner was called to a crash Thursday afternoon in Schuylkill County. The crash happened on the Shenandoah-Brandonville Road, otherwise known as Route 924, just outside of Shenandoah. Officials say an elderly man died in the one-vehicle crash in West Mahanoy Township. A Schuylkill County deputy coroner said the man was 96-year-old John Murkowski of Shenandoah. Police are still investigating how this one-car crash happened in Schuylkill County. Friday, Esteban Rodriguez Fernandez entered a guilty plea yesterday in county court to a felony charge in connection with a fatal crash in July of 2016. The 21-year-old was driving on Route 924 in Hazel Township when his vehicle went off the road, swerved, and struck another vehicle head-on. Carlos Manuel, a passenger in the other vehicle, was killed. Fernandez has been out on bail since his preliminary hearing in October. He has been allowed to apply for an intermediate punishment program ahead of sentencing. That's your weekend review, sponsored by Four Blooms Restaurant in Drums.
And a reminder before we leave you that Sunday is April 1st. Not only is it Easter Sunday, but it's also April Fool's, so don't fall for anything. And as far as Easter is concerned, we do wish you and yours a happy Easter and a blessed Passover to those who are observing that as well. Stay with us. A look at today's weather is next here on Wyln News.
Phony Paul Mango is at it again. Another ad lying about Scott Wagner's record. No real Republicans support Mango. That's because Mango is the leading advocate for Obamacare. And get this, Mango's company is a leader in promoting outsourcing jobs to India and Mexico and got a $2 million no-bid government contract from Tom Wolf. Obamacare advocate, outsourcer, Wolf contractor. Paul Mango. Phony campaign. Real liberal, wrong for us.
Lilacs Floral Shop, 15th Street in Hazleton, offers a wide array of fresh-cut floral and silk flowers, free delivery, or sympathy arrangements to all local funeral homes. Find them on Facebook, visit their website. Bart is always happy to give you the best customer service. Lilacs wishes Hazleton boys a great day of team play. Independent Life Home Care offers in-home non-medical care with RN, LPN, home health aid, and companion services in Luzerne and Carbon counties. They accept Medicaid waivers, VA benefits, long-term care insurance, and private pay. Call 570-904-8822 for a free assessment.
Due to the structure of the buy-sell agreement, all Mazda inventory must be liquidated. I am unable to advertise prices below their pricing structure, but I can assure you that I will be selling cars well below that structure. I've also gotten 11 buyers on hand to purchase any and all trades, giving you the maximum value available. If I can't beat your best deal, I'll write you a check for $2,000. This is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It is a real deal. Blaze Alexander Mazda of Hazleton. This event is about to end. Please do not miss out.